wonderful day in the neighborhood. I'm super excited. It is 2021. We made it, fam. We made it. We made it through 2020. Yes, 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 yes. It's the first Sunday of the new year, and there's no other place I'd rather be than to be here with you. I'm so excited and thankful, right? So we're here. A lot of hope and promise for this year. We're hoping for this vaccine to work, to deal with COVID-19. Some people I know have already taken it. Some doctors that I know have stepped up and taken the vaccine. So we're just keeping our fingers crossed and praying that everything will work fine for everyone that's willing to go first to take it, first responders and alike. So I understand it's a phased approach. Each state is going through it by phase momentum. So we'll just have to see how it works out. But for the meantime, most of us will still be shelter in place. If you go out, please mask up. It does make a difference. It does save lives. Trust me on this. Please mask up for the sake of your family and for other people that you're going to be around. So yes, we still have kids at home. They're getting ready to go back to school, and some going back tomorrow, some starting on Tuesday. Tuesday's a big day here in Georgia. Yes, we have to vote for the Senate seats. I'm still getting paraphernalia in my mail. If you have not early voted already, Tuesday is the day. Please get out there and vote, and we'll talk some more about that towards the end of the show. I know somebody tied to the campaign trail, and I'm thankful that they're going to be powering today's show so I'm excited about that. Today, I got somebody that I like. I'm honored that this person is joining me for today, and we're going to dig right in. But for my new people, my new listeners, thank you. I just want to give you guys a little background about what Real Chicks Rock is all about. It's all about creatively collaborating, connecting, and raising awareness regarding issues that impact women by way of community service. We do it through public speaking, mentoring, our workshops, and we do it through this platform, which is the arts. I did a post the other day commemorating the fact that Real Chicks Rock has been around for 8 years. It's been 8 years, and I couldn't do it without you guys and all of your support. This particular platform, I really like. See, I'm rubbing the table for those that can't see me. I like this because I get an opportunity to talk to people that I feel that are doing some really dope things in the environment, in the community, whether it's in entertainment, politics, whatever the case may be. I get an opportunity to talk to people that I like, and we get an opportunity to learn more about the work that they're doing and how it's empowering other people. They're such an inspiration. Today is no different. Yes, I get a conversation with Jodine Dorsey. Hi, Jodine.
Hi, Michelle.
How are you? Look at those dimples. I can just dive in those dimples. Look at those dimples. I'm wonderful. I'm thankful to be here, and I'm glad you're my first guest of the new year. Yay! Last year I didn't really have conversations with people. I was all about topics and issues and things going on, and I said, be easy. Come on now. You got to soften it up. You got to lighten it up. We're here. We're blessed to be here. Let's talk to people. Let's have a conversation. How are you, Dimples?
I am good. I'm good. It's so funny to hear you call me Dimples. That's been my nickname all my life.
Really?
It's really funny to hear that. But man, kicking off 2021, honestly, and just being here on your platform as a real chick that rocks. I can't even tell you how honored I am and how I am so grateful for you, Michelle, for doing this for 8 years for women.
Yeah.
There's not enough. Right? It's like never enough. It's not enough. We need more women like you to continually empower us and inspire us and keep us motivated. To keep building.
Yeah.
You got to keep building.
Yeah.
And I thank you for what you do, Michelle. It's amazing work, and I'm a fan.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm blushing. I don't know if you could tell, sometimes
right.
the melanin. I'm extremely gushing right now. But enough about me. We're going to talk. We're going to talk. Enough about me. But thank you so much for the warm compliment. I appreciate it. I want to just jump right in. Where are you from? Are you Haitian? Are you South Florida? What? Come on, tell me the deal. What's going on? Where are you from?
So let me break it down.
Please break it down.
I'm originally from Miami, Florida.
Okay.
I'm originally from Miami, Florida, but I'm first generation Haitian.
Yes.
My mom and my dad are both from Haiti. They moved to the States, gave me this opportunity, gave birth to me in the States, gave me this opportunity to be raised here. I'm originally from Miami, but then I spent a lot of my time in Atlanta as an adult.
Right.
I always say Atlanta made me a woman.
Right.
And I now live in Brooklyn, New York. Right now, physically, I'm in Puerto Rico.
Tell them, girl.
I am in Puerto Rico. I was sharing, Michelle, like I shared with you, I did not, it was a personal thing for me. 2020 has been heavy. You know, it's been heavy for a lot of us.
Yes.
And I just needed to come here and decompress, really be grateful, stand in my greatness and stand and being grateful for 2020, believe it or not, and really just prepare myself for 2021. So I'm here. I'm staying for a week. I'm at Love So Beautiful here in Luquillo, Puerto Rico. It's amazing, and I'm just thankful. Like honestly, this is the energy that I wanted to be in to bring it to.
Oh, you look fantastic. You letting the sun just kiss on your face. I feel the way. I'm going to get me a ticket. I need to get out of here because I'm bugging out. I'm telling you, I'm bugging out. It's too much.
And you got to be careful. It's COVID. We're in a pandemic. I don't take that for granted. I'm masked, I'm face shield, I'm elderberry, I'm ginger, I'm turmeric, I'm, everything that we need to make sure that our immune system is running properly. We are fighting this disease together, this virus together, collectively, individually. I am prayed up, you're prayed, we got to make sure we're taking all the precautions when we travel. And I know it's a tough time for people to travel, especially if you have kids. It's a huge risk factor, but if you can afford it, if you can make it happen, I still say you should get away with making all the smart decisions.
Yes, absolutely. I want to step back. You kind of glossed over that your family's from Haiti. I want to talk a little bit about that, growing up as a kid in Miami. What was that like for you? Is it because for me, my mom is Jamaican, so it's strict Jamaican, like, you know what I mean, like, Michelle, come upstairs, Michelle, do this. So it was in the Bronx, so it was very hard. I'm a Bronx girl all day, and it's in the project, so it was like very strict. So tell me what it was like for you growing up, Haitian parents in Miami. How was that for you?
It's an experience that it's not. I used to think it was unique, right? I used to think my experience was so unique, but as you meet more first generations, we all have this story, right? About being here in the United States and living a duality, if you will.
Yes.
To go home and it's Haitian traditions, it's rituals, it's another language in my case.
Yes.
Patois is another language too.
That's right.
It's another language. When you get home, it's another way of understanding, another way of interpreting information. When you go out into the school system and you're socializing with, kids and American kids, it's a whole different world. So you live this dual life, you know, and a parallel dual life, because you got to be hip for the American system, but you got to be Haitian, because
you better be respectful. You must be respectful,
Right. So it's so interesting that growing up, you learn so much about your country, your culture, just by being an offspring of the parents that brought you into this earth. Like, I would have never understood the Haitian story if it wasn't for my father and my mom and my siblings, who were also all born in Haiti. I would have never understood the American story if I didn't understand what my parents had to go through to even come to the United States, or even why to come to the United States.
Right.
So I think I like to say it's unique as a first generation, but I also like to say I don't think people understand. I truly believe this. Americans will never understand the American story until they see it through the lens of immigrants.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that my upbringing gave me that appreciation as I sit and talk to you as an American.
Yeah.
It's a different lens that we look at being an American and how being an American looks like.
It is a different portal of view.
Yes.
Because I'm firstborn generation here too as well, right? So you
Right.
have a grandmother with a sixth grade education that
Right.
decides to come to the United States because it was just a better way to make money and save. And then the goal was to come back to Jamaica and live in her house. And, you know,
Right.
she brought my mom, who's a twin, and my aunt here when they were 13. So it was just like, so the scenario is similar. I think most first generation, it's kind of a thing of pride,
Yeah.
in a sense, right? The fact that your family has taken this trip, they made this choice to come here to create a better life for the generations to come, and so
Yeah.
you feel like there's a sense of responsibility, right, Jodine, on
Oh
your
my
on your
God.
shoulders
Woo.
to make sure that you're doing not perfection, but you're forerunning for the generations that will come behind you. True?
It's the last name, right? Like, it's the last name. It's really about our legacy.
Right. Right.
And how do we keep, so something that I do, perfect example, something that I do every January 1st, no matter where I am. I'm in Luquillo, Puerto Rico right now.
Yeah.
Guess what I did January 1st? I made a pot of soup jumu. It's a Haitian soup.
Yeah.
We drink it every January 1st. The women, after the men came from kicking Napoleon out and the French out of Haiti, and we were considered a free black country, the first free black country. And the women took those vegetables that they weren't, and those roots that they weren't allowed to eat, and they made a stew for their men when they came back from war on January 1st, 1804. And every year since then, women of Haiti, and now men of Haiti, because women were typically the cooks back in those days. Let's remember we had roles back then.
Right.
But every year we've made soup jumu to kind of celebrate and highlight this really pinnacle moment of our history. We kicked out the French, and I'm American.
Yeah.
Like, right? Technically, I was born in the United
Yeah.
States of America. But that's a tradition that's never going away. That's something that, you know, I don't have any kids, but I got to make sure my nieces and my nephews know how to make soup jumu.
Right.
I got to make sure that my responsibility as a Haitian American is to make sure that everyone who I touch and reach knows the significance of this meal because it's so important to my culture and to my heritage. So those are just some of the few responsibilities when we think about our legacy and legacy building that we have on our shoulders as first generation. We have that on our shoulders. We can't let our traditions die.
No.
We've got to continue to hold up our ancestors and hold up our communities, even in our other countries. So yeah, that's a huge responsibility, girl. And not even talk about how we got to keep sending money to take care of our family, but that's a whole nother
Money
conversation.
back in the day was sending barrels of food and
Barrels
of food and non-perishable items to the island, right? I want to talk to you because you're so enriched with the Haitian culture. I want to understand, how did you get to Atlanta and how did that work for you when you first got there? So how did you get to Atlanta?
So I come from a family of pioneers, I promise you. Like my father and his brothers moved to the United States as a collective unit and just accomplished so much in the city of Miami, not only for themselves, but for the community of Little Haiti. And my brother, who's a result of that, moved to Atlanta back when, I mean, like, and you know this, you're from Haiti. There's only 3 cities in the United States of America: Miami, New York, and Boston. So my brother moved to Atlanta. I'm not sure why Atlanta, but ever since my brother's moved to Atlanta, I used to visit him during the summers, spent some time up there, and I really loved the city. And what I loved about it was this blackness. Like, it was Wakanda before Wakanda was actually a visual a visual experience.
Yeah.
Atlanta was just always this beautiful city. So when I was working after I graduated from University of South Florida, and I was working my first corporate job, they offered me a transfer to Atlanta. I took it because my brother was there.
Yeah.
I had family so when I talk about the pioneers, a lot of my family members moved up to Atlanta because of my brother. Like my brother kind of like went there, put the flag down, said it's safe to come.
Yeah.
So we flocked. Like they left. They were like, all right, pack up my bags, I'm out. Like let me go and start my new life in Atlanta. And I followed, and I went right with them, and I was there, and I lived 11 full years in Atlanta, and it was such a rich and fulfilling part of my journey. It really, really was.
Awesome. You met some great people, great relationships.
Oh my God. I think Atlanta, like I always say this, Atlanta made me a woman, but Atlanta also Atlanta pulled out my passion. Atlanta taught me a lot more of who I was. I defined Jodine a little bit more in Atlanta. Atlanta is when I got understood that there was actually a tribe of people that looked like me and were just as eclectic with listening to everything from country music to house music to hip hop and pop music. Like I didn't know those Black people existed. I remember like meeting, I don't know if you know this poet, but there was this poet named John Good. I met John Good and was like, wait a minute. You love poetry? Like, I was like, oh my God. Atlanta just offered me a community to really extract what my spirit, who I was as a woman. Like it really provided that community environment for me to really be aligned with my spirit. Yeah, Atlanta's beautiful.
When did you start working in the arts? Tell me a little bit about how did you pivot and turn? You got this opportunity, you transferred here to Atlanta. How did you start doing what you do? How did that happen for you?
I've always been corporate, so I've always had a job. Like, look, I was not going to be this starving artist. I dabbled into poetry. I dabbled into all these arts. But I've always had a job. And I was working for, I forget what company I was working for. It was a corporate company. Nonetheless, I started this, what was it? It was a showcase, a concert. In those days, it was called Apache Cafe. And I started this showcase with my partner in crime, Kimmy Bennings, called Soul Sisters Juke Joint.
Yeah.
So I started moonlighting, doing those types of experiences. And I also started a newsletter called Jodine's Corner. Was moonlighting doing that, telling people where to find other events that, speak to your soul, where to find other artists and designers and food that speaks to your soul. So I started these things in parallel, moonlighting while working a corporate job. And then it wasn't until I got an opportunity with Red Bull as their cultural marketing manager back in the day. I'm not dating myself. And that's when my worlds started to collide. Like that's when it just went full on. So moonlighting in the culture and the arts and promoting and booking and doing shows and, just really engulfing myself into the Atlanta cultural scene. I was doing that, since the 2000s and my corporate life and my moonlighting life kind of came to head when I started working for Red Bull. And then I was able to provide sponsorship to a lot of the events that I supported and that I loved, and create events for people and artists and creators that I love and support. So it it just meshed. My worlds just meshed, and I was able to kind of do these things on a larger scale. And I've continued to do these things on a larger scale by providing platforms to independent artists.
That's a beautiful thing. My mouth is like hitting the desk because I'm like, wow, that's a beautiful thing. And nobody uses that term moonlighting anymore. Now they call it like entrepreneurial, like doing entrepreneurial things on the side because
I'm hustling.
Yeah, or hustling or grinding or whatever. But yeah, it's amazing that you were able to have this fusion, right? So what you love and then bring money or visibility to the thing that you love. So, because oftentimes we love things, but it doesn't generate the revenue or the visibility, and then you do it for the love, but you took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, and that was the blessing of it. You know, then after Red Bull, and then I started. That was my introduction to the whole live events.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was my introduction because people do this for a living.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Like, right? Like I didn't know about marketing. I didn't know about event marketing. I didn't know about experiential. Not until like all of my worlds collided.
Right.
And once my worlds collided and I knew that there was opportunity, there was money here, there was opportunity here, I took it and ran, you know, and I worked with different agencies, which allowed me to work with different brands and continue always with that northern, you know, that North Star of how is this helping and assisting other creators out there?
Right.
Right?
Right.
I had a gig, perfect example. I had a project with a chocolate company and they wanted to roll out this new kind of chocolate. And I was like, okay, so what Black-owned restaurants, right? Before like buying Black-owned was a thing, because this company was like, can you find me restaurants where we can get these sampled? I targeted Black-owned restaurants so that they can get some dollars from this chocolate company to sample this chocolate.
That's how
and I sprinkled in a couple, you know, you can't do it. So, you know, you sprinkle a little bit more in there, but that was my objective. I took that project with the idea that I'm going to support some black restaurants.
Absolutely. Good for you.
Right? Like
good for you. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. I want to talk to you a little bit about when you worked with Disney Consumer Products. What was that like? You know, just a little bit on that corporate side. Did that really kind of drive you out the door to be like, I got to get this moonlight thing popping? Was that the thing for you?
That was it. That was it. That was it. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you saw it, right? Like, and even then, like, Disney was a great opportunity as well. Like, don't get it twisted, because I was able to learn about licensing.
Okay.
For MP3s before licensing became like this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Product placement. How do we take Kids Bop, which is a whole other music realm, and bring it into the Disney world, right? And I was able to learn that through marketing, through being, you know, working for Disney Consumer Products. So I was still involved in music, but it definitely introduced me to the business side of music. And that's what I was grateful for. You know, everything in your journey kind of helps you get to that next level, or helps you get to an understanding of something else. And then there's some parts of your journey where you just like, why did I make that decision? But that's a whole other conversation. But for this particular one, it was all about it. You know, looking at it now, I am so grateful that I was able to read contracts. I was able to read to get an understanding of how the music business works in the background when it comes to product placement, when it comes to products, to manufacturing, endorsements, sponsorships. Disney gave me that opportunity.
Yeah, that's good learning. That is excellent learning, because we don't all have access to that type of information. So it's great. So you were able to bring that into your world. I want to talk to you more about One Music Fest and Essence. Those sound like your babies. Tell me more about that.
So, once again, you know, like when your worlds collide. I used to work for Essence. I worked for Essence about 3 or 4 years. And my last year at Essence, before I moved over to the agency side for Time Inc., because Time Inc. owned Essence Magazine and Essence Festival at the time. I was technically their executive producer for the entire festival, working under the general manager for Essence, and it was a huge feat, a huge undertaking. But the experience, once again, looking at our experiences and how does it build how does it build or add to our journey?
Right.
And I never in my craziest mind would have ever thought that I'd be sitting in a position to produce the largest African American music festival, multiple day music festival
Yeah.
in my life. Never I would have thought that. Like I wouldn't have told you that I had to be in the back running the productions, the operations, working and collaborating with artists and the artist agencies, and working with everything from security vendors to ticketing and to, you know, venues, and taking everything that you can imagine of going to Essence Festival and having a bird eye view on making sure that all of it works in sync, and make sure that at the end of the day, because it's still a business, that Essence wins at the end,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So it was a huge opportunity. I took it, I ran with it, and I am so thankful that I had the opportunity to work with just some amazing Black women.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Essence is still a Black woman's safe haven. You go there, you work, you're surrounded by Black women. We are all different and just diverse and just beautiful.
Right.
And we gonna fight, but we gonna pray.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we are gonna make sure that Essence brands never falls short.
Right.
And that's what we did. And it was a great opportunity. But festivals have been my thing. I love working for festivals. I love working with partners in programming festivals. I love working with partners and making sure that the money is tight for these festivals with sponsorships, like I do for One Music Fest. I work with my client Jay Carter and the One Music Fest team, Ornike, Motown, and really just ensure not only that we fulfill what we have to fulfill for our sponsors, but that every person at that festival gets a time to exchange with these sponsors. And so it's a fun opportunity. It's through my agency. I started my own agency because I just needed an opportunity to kind of work on products and brands that I enjoy. And so I started Dorsey Creative Production, and that production agency started out of a love for elevating Black experiences.
Yes.
Cultural Black, I'm very specific, it's cultural and Black experiences. So, you know, shout out to my clients like One Music Fest, like Capital Jazz Festival, like Apollo Theater, all of them, just telling the story of Black culture through arts and entertainment. And it's beautiful. And I'm just glad I get to play a little part of it. I just get to play a little part of it. And I'm so honored to be able to do so.
We call that legacy building work. That's legacy work. That's legacy work, because everybody's not gifted or blessed with the opportunity to do that, right? So the mere fact that the creator had provided your narrative, right, ordered your steps to allow you to work with corporate and then tie yourself to the thing that you love so much, and then you get to do it, and then you get to see it. I know you stand in the back and you see thousands of people and you're like, yo, we're doing this. Like, there's a little something in your head goes, yo, we did this, you know? We did this.
Michelle, the to produce Essence Festival is a whole year.
Yes.
For 3 days.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
And you're gone, right? So there's a 3-day experience, not 24 hours, but it's like an 18-hour full experience, right? There is something, and anyone who's worked at Essence, if there's any Essence alumni that are watching this, will probably hit your DMs right now and tell you they agree. There is something about when you're in the convention center and you're overlooking, there's a overpass in the convention center where people can walk to get from one side of the convention center to the other. And it's completely a window. So you see everything that's going on the floor. And you're looking over 1 million people. You got Coca-Cola, you got the Coca-Cola booth, you got Ford booth, you've got Walmart in the back, you have all your major sponsors, people are interacting, people are dancing, people are eating, people are listening to the conversations that's happening on the empowerment stage, and you're sitting, and you're just not sitting, you're standing there looking at a million people like having the time of their lives.
Yeah.
Michelle, that's when you cry and say, thank you, God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's that at that moment, everything else, that whole year of crying and overeating and missing schedules, missing birthdays, getting cussed out, breakups because you ain't spending time with your partner. That whole year is for that moment when you can look at 1 million people and see the smiles on their faces.
On their faces, And that's dedication, a year's dedication. That's what I know about festivals. A good one is planned the minute that the last one ends. The next day is typically, you may get that day off, but then the following day is like, you got to start planning. Right? Right?
Yeah, they're like reading contracts because you're booking the artist, you know, your headline artist for the next one, because you got to get those ticket sales going, right? So it's a cycle. It's a crazy cycle. And you've got to be partly crazy. Like I always say, that people that work in events, I don't care who you are, if you touch an event, no matter what lane you're playing in, you are slightly crazy, because it takes craziness, a little bit of crazy to do what we do. It takes a little bit of crazy. You've got to be a little off somewhere. And I am talking about myself as well. You've got to be a little off to even like go through all of that. Because at the end of the day, once it's over, you're like, can I just work at Starbucks and just serve coffee? Like, I just want to serve coffee. I just want to serve coffee. And then you get a call from your girlfriend, Annika, who's like, hey, I got a project coming. You want to work with me? Yeah, let me bring this crazy back in my life. Like, that's, girl, anybody in live events they have to have a little dose of crazy, and just, they got to be a little out there to deal with what it takes. And I'm glad we're talking about this right now, just because the live event space has taken such a hit during COVID. You know what I mean, Michelle?
Yeah, I know.
And you know this to be true. Like there's no concerts. We can't go. I mean, Atlanta, y'all still wildin'. We're not gonna talk about that for this show. We're not talking about that because I've seen the Instagram photos, Miami and Atlanta, y'all still wildin'. But people aren't dancing anymore. People aren't dancing in clubs anymore, anything of that sort. Live events has kind of taken a back seat. Lots of theaters are dark right now. Broadway is dark. And it's so hard. It's taken a lot of us. It's a huge hit for a lot of us. But what I love is the spirit of being able to get creative. So if we can't meet in the Apollo Theater, how can we bring the music to you? How can we bring theater to you? How can we bring the performance arts to you? And continue to create platforms for these creators? Because remember, that's the North Star here. Are we bringing a platform for these creators? Are we allowing them to show their work? And we've been able to get creative during this hit for live events. So I, shout out to the people that work in the live event space. It's hard. It's hard, but we will pivot. We will get through this. We will get through this for sure.
It's definitely different. I've been blessed to work with Hot Ice Live Entertainment. Shouts out to Ken Rye, right? And so it's been, you have to pivot and turn and adjust and figure out what can you do in a safe way, right? And it's about quality too, right? So you still want to bring quality entertainment, quality sound, this experience. It's all about the experience. So 2020 created a way for us to think of things outside of the box. You can't do things as you used to, but the music must go on, right? It still has to keep going forward. So that's I feel you on that. We're all trying to figure out. Most of us are still home though, and then we look at the same Instagram postings that you see, and I'm like, they're actually doing that. Like I can go to the store and I see in the day long lines of people waiting to get in a day restaurant or a club, and it's younger people, and I'm like. And I'm looking, and my son is like, "Mommy, you see that line?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's incredible." And then people will call me and say, "What's going on with you guys in Atlanta?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not, I'm not doing it. I can't speak for them, but that's what they want to do." I think it's the warm weather, or I don't know what it is. Being invincible, they think my mom will get it, but I ain't gonna get it. Like I don't know what people are thinking, but yeah, it's crazy, and our numbers are going up.
And it's, it's no judgment, right? I mean, we were never given the real facts about this virus.
Right.
It's been a moving target since inception. Poor leadership has made it really difficult for us to believe anything.
Right.
So it's like no judgment, but if you know better, be better, do better.
Right.
Even, some people look at me and say, well, you drove, you flew to Luquillo and you got on a plane. And it's like, no judgment. Like that's, but I'm taking all the right precautions.
Right.
And when I come to Luquillo, I'm in my girlfriend's apartment. Like that's about it, or I'll go to the store, or I'll go to the beach where there's, no one there. So we just got to make sure that we're making smart decisions. No judgment, Atlanta, Miami. But,
I know. We love y'all.
Not the best thing to do right now.
We love y'all.
Maybe Cheryl.
I want to ask you, how did we get from Atlanta to New York? How did we get to Brooklyn?
So that's an interesting journey, right? That's a very interesting journey. It was a combination of personal and professional.
Okay.
And I was engaged to a beautiful, beautiful brother in Atlanta, Georgia, and we didn't work out. And so because we didn't work out in that sense, in our personal relationship. So there was nothing really tying me to Atlanta. And once I realized there was nothing really tying me to Atlanta, I decided to go ahead and go where the checks get signed. Go to New York City.
Okay.
Go check out New York. I just wanted to go and check it out. Like, right? I wasn't like, I'm leaving, I'm never coming back. I just like, let me go and check it out.
Okay.
And then the closer I got to like leaving, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not coming back. So I moved. Like, it was like, okay, fine, I'm moving. So then I moved, and it was a hard time. I didn't have a job. I quit my job for an agency, experiential agency. And I did the most craziest thing. One would look back and say, never do that shit again, but I did it. Excuse me for cursing. But I quit my job and just packed up my car and moved.
Wow.
Nothing, with $1,500, and that's it.
You was really trying to get out of here. You was trying to go.
Yeah, right?
Ooh.
And I only could have done it if because I had the support. I had the support of one of my girlfriends named Kai, who took the drive with me. I had the support of one of my dearest friends, Tracy Fortson, who, if she didn't open up her doors and say, "Girl, just be, just stay in my place. There's a room. Stay in my room. Let's not talk money. Let's not, just decompress. Be." And then, once you start getting your life together, then we can revisit some things. Okay. And if I didn't have that type of support system in place, New York would have been a fail. New York would have been a fail. Easily. That would have it would have been so hard to adjust. But I had that community. I had Tracy. I had people that I knew from working in the Atlanta music scene, like a George Littlejohn and a Russell Johnson from Purpose Entertainment. I had other friends that were like, Maya Azucena, who was an artist that performed at one of my shows in Atlanta, who came and said, okay, well, hang out with me. And my boy Jabril, who was like, well, stay at my place on the weekends and see if you like Brooklyn. Like, I had to have that family that I call my family now, in order to be able to be successful in New York or transition to New York successfully. I now, in New York, I run my own agency, Dorsey Creative. So I'm technically an entrepreneur. I do work with Apollo. I do work with Capital Jazz. I do work with a number of brands and other agencies as we collaborate. And New York has just been a blessing. Like, New York has been a blessing. I don't know if I'm there for the rest of my life, but what I've been able to create, my reality that I've been able to create in New York, and my friendships and my family that I've been able to create into New York, has just been impeccable. Like, it's just been like the perfect next step to Atlanta.
Do you miss radio? I want to talk about that. Do you miss radio?
I do, girl.
Talk about being a personality on WBCX 89.1 FM in Atlanta. And then, come on, how you miss radio? Because radio is so different now.
I do. And I got into radio because of Jodine's Corner. I remember I started this newsletter in Atlanta, kind of informing people of what was going on, but I was also doing artist interviews to inform people of different artists that were coming to Atlanta to perform. I remember doing one of my first, one of the first people I interviewed was like Dwele. He wasn't my first, but like Dwele, I interviewed Dwele when he was coming to Atlanta, and different independent artists that were coming at the time. And there was a beautiful soul who was a station manager in Grinnell University for 89.1. And Scott Fugate was like, I love what you're doing. Do you want to do this every Saturday? I was like, hell yeah. Sign me up. I didn't know radio like that, Michelle, but this is what you do. And I want to talk about that a little bit more, but this is what you do. You're like, I don't know how to do this, but it's aligned with who I am. It's aligned with my North Star. I'm going. I'm going to go, and I'll figure it out. And I figured out how to run my own board. I figured out how to produce. I figured it out because it was part of my passion. And then after I left 89.1, DJ Doc, who's in Atlanta, was like, hey, let's do a radio show on this new platform that was way ahead of its time, called Beehive FM. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And we were able to bring so many artists inside of a visual studio because they streamed the interviews like you're doing here. And they also had the radio show, so you listened and you watched. And it was just incredible. It was just one, like, I love it. I miss it. I actually miss it, and I'm still attempting to get back into it. I don't know how it looks. I don't know how that's gonna like transpire, but I do want to go back to radio. Absolutely. That's one of my passions.
And maybe it's digital, Jodine. Maybe it's not the way we traditionally know it, but it may be digital because that's just where we're going now. There's just conversations about how radio stations are unfortunately not in a good, profitable place like they used to be because we have so many options as to how we listen to music. Whether before it was XM radio that was kind of killing them, well, that's dying because now we have all these free streaming services and platforms. And, and then people are giving you live mixes on social media. So you have so many opportunities in different ways. So, I think because of who you are, you can instantly do a YouTube and do a YouTube channel, Jodine's Corner. Hey, and just like, you know what I mean? And have people come through and zoom in and do it. Did I give you an idea? I'd like to help you produce that. I'd like to be a part of that concept. Thank you.
20%. Let me know. Like, do I need to give the 20 pre-production or post-production?
Let me help you. And action. And we'll do all of that. All that fun stuff. So do you prefer, you hosted at the Apollo, right? You're doing hosting at the Apollo's Theater Music Cafe, the Capital Jazz Fest, Super Cruises. You like being in that space as well? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I started hosting out of necessity because I had my own show,
Right.
called Soul Sisters Juke Joint. So I had to host those shows because when you hire people to host, sometimes they don't know the subject. And you know this, Michelle, being a
Right.
host, right?
Right.
When you don't know that subject, there's kind of a flatness that you bring to hosting,
A
right?
void,
Like
kind of almost like a dullness or a void or,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's like, hello, my name is Michelle from Real Chicks Rock, and today we're talking to Jodine.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is it, right? So
Right.
it's a flatness. And for something as passionate as passionate as music, something as fulfilling as music and the arts that I was involved with, I couldn't find people to kind of bring that excitement to the stage or explain it the way I knew how to explain it to people so that they understood it.
Right.
So out of necessity, I said, bump this, let me host my own shows. And from then, it just, like, I started hosting other shows and hosting concerts and hosting venues. And so I've always kind of had this rather, I call it unique, or it's also a blessing opportunity to work behind the scenes and also work in front of the scenes as a host or as a moderator and public speaking. I've always enjoyed it. I could even attach it to when I was a little girl, and we used to watch Barbara Walters. Like, I've always enjoyed those types of engagements, those types of speaking engagements. So yeah, I've been able to do both. And Apollo, you brought up Apollo. Even Apollo, when I started in New York, I was doing it for a local promoter who was doing the independent artist shows, and I was like, yeah, I'll host your event. That's not a problem. I was hosting his event, putting my name on it, putting my brand, attaching my brand to it. And Apollo needed a host or a face for their independent or emerging artist platform. And that was just a win-win situation, and it's, once again, being in New York and just connecting with folks and standing next to people you don't even know who you're standing next to, that prior to COVID. That opportunity just, showed itself to me, and why not, like, lean into it. Why not? I ran with it and started hosting Apollo Music Cafe. And that in itself has been one of the ways I've been able to kind of keep my hands involved in the independent music scene, but also just to, have a good time and get people excited about something that they'll never, they haven't experienced before. Yeah.
I want to talk to you about TED Talk. You did a TED Talk?
No, I did not do a TED Talk. No. I've done speaking engagements that are like a TED Talk.
Okay.
That talks about storytelling and tell your stories.
Okay.
But I've never done a TED Talk. Now, would I do a TED Talk?
Yes.
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 And it would really have to do with people telling their story.
Okay.
I have a passion, and this is, Michelle, this is why we do this, right? Because we love hearing people's stories.
Yeah.
And everyone has a story. Everyone has a story. Everyone's mind is just like constantly going, and it's so different from this other person's mind. And there's so many things that lends itself to the reason why people make certain decisions, right? There's so many things that influence who you are, what you are, and I love learning more about that with people. And so I'm always, I don't even care who it is. I'm always telling people to tell their story. I don't care if you work at Wendy's. I don't care if you work at Winn-Dixie. Like, tell your story. People want to hear your story. People want to know what makes you you.
I'm learning that more, Jodine. That has been a private struggle of mine. Because you think you think you could birth something, and you think that hard work would make or pave the way. And what I'm coming to realize is that people want to know why you're driven. People want to know why you do what you do. People want to know where you come from. People want to know what you're thinking. People want to know what your next move is. And this is how you and I connected through Clubhouse, just understanding it's a platform where you could just speak and be transparent. And a lot of people have been telling their story, you know, or how they're feeling or how they're navigating through life and how they're changing the narrative for themselves. And so it's just a really, I think it's a wonderful time for people, but I really see an evolution for women even more,
Yes.
because we're no longer operating in these preconceived shadows or notions. We're not like our mom. Not that our mom is a bad person. Love you, Mom. But we're different because it's a different time and there's different opportunities and we think differently, we move differently. And, you know, and sometimes my mom looks at me, she goes, oh my God, like, how do you do it all? And I'm like, I don't think I'm doing anything at all, you know? So I think
Right.
it's
I still got so much more to do.
yeah, it's a composition of the blessings from your ancestors and God has for your
Right.
life, and then what you vision for yourself, and you know the support that you get from your people, and it's just it's a whole thing. But I was always a person that played the back. Like, I'm not really a spotlight person, but yet I created this platform to shine the light on people who are doing awesome things. I think that oftentimes we have stories and they're not necessarily heard. And we all can't get to Black Girls Rock. We all can't get to Essence Music Festival or those platforms where they give you the accolades and the trophies, the Emmys, the Oscars. But I think that we do enough work that makes a difference, that impacts people, that inspires people that are watching, that we need to give them the time. Like, I believe in giving people their flowers and roses while they're here versus when we're going to have this conversation now, because I think that you are an inspiration to people like me and other people that don't even know how to start, that may have come from a Caribbean type background, that had a certain type of parent and moved to different cities and had this passion about music or being in communications or hosting or bringing awareness to the Black community. You've done all of those things. And so I tip my hat to you. I tip my
Thank
hat
you,
to you,
Michelle.
Jodine. I tip you.
Thank you.
I want to talk to you about how you feel about the empowerment of women. I read it in your bio that you do things, and I wanted to give you a platform, an opportunity to talk a little bit more about that. Why is that so important to you, Jodine, empowering women?
Well, women in general, like, right? We have been in the shadows for so many years,
Yeah.
so many years. We had our roles to play. We had our, we were limited in our thinking because of our environments, or we were forced to be limited in our thinking. And it's such a good time right now. And not to say, you know, shout out to the women that like broke those ceilings and was just like, bump this, I'm doing it my way. We're gonna go right instead of left, and we've always been told to go left. But I think it's such a good time for women right now to really step into who they are and be them full selves. We are not. My girlfriend Cynthia likes to say this: we're just not monolithic people. We aren't. We are not one dimensional.
Right.
Women are complex. We have a lot of interesting things about us. We are more than just marry us and let's have a baby. We are more than that.
Yes.
We are more than that. And this is, you know, no better time right now than to make that point and to live that point. And, you know, why do I do it? I do it not only because I'm thinking about the women of tomorrow and making sure that women are empowered to do what they need to do, but I'm also honoring the women of the past, right? Who had to play their role so that a little Haitian girl can be born in Miami, Florida, and live in Brooklyn, New York, and be able to do the things that she's doing. So this is such a good time for us as women to live our fullest self. We still got work to do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a whole system in place to make sure that we don't go but too far. There's a whole system in place to make sure that we don't go but too far.
Yeah.
And I honor and I'm giving thanks to every woman that is like chipping at that glass ceiling to make sure that we get to a place where we could just be our full selves and get paid to be our full selves and get acknowledged to be our full selves and not be shamed upon or shunned upon because we are our full selves, because we are loud and we are quiet and we are we are boisterous and then then we are shy. Like we are so many things. And just honoring my ancestors and just looking forward to the future and what the future is going to bring to who we are as women.
What examples do you hope to leave behind that will help others?
Good question, because I don't know if I ever said I have an example.
Okay.
What I've always said is there's a few things that's very important to me, and I'm sure you'd understand this being a Jamaican first-generation woman. Your last name.
Yeah.
Your last name is extremely important, and my last name is important to me, and my last name is my legacy. I don't have any kids, so I've got to think about legacy differently as a woman, right? My legacy is has to look a little bit differently. My impact has to look a little differently. So how do I say this? I really just want to be so intentional in my moves that it inspires, it motivates, it empowers, it keeps the vibration going for women.
Yeah.
It keeps it going for the next, right? Just by being so intentional about who I am, being intentional and being completely present and understanding who I am, that my walk, which is so important to me, that my walk is in alignment and people are inspired. The prayer is always, let God just let me be a portal for you.
Yeah.
However you want me to move, however you want me to inspire, who we need to work on today. Like who we talking to today, God? Like how we doing? Like, that's the right?
Yeah.
Because people don't like people, my peoples they're not gonna remember, Jodine got me this for my birthday, or Jodine, did this or did that. During my funeral, it's gonna be like Jodine made me feel. Jodine inspired me to, that's the language that I would hope my life inspires.
Jodine was my mentor.
Right. And because of that, because of the directions X, Y, Z was able to happen.
Yes.
Like that's so important.
I feel that. What's next for you? What projects you got going? What's going on? Come on, when you come back from Puerto Rico. What's going on?
Oh man. So, it looks differently now, with Dorsey Creative Production, live events, of course, still in question for 2021. Right. My reality is different. A lot of my reality is virtual, virtual experiences. A lot of my reality now is working from home, which is not being in a venue. It's not traveling for work. It's not going to concerts and checking out artists so that I could put them on the stage. So what's next for me is continuing to follow that North Star, continuing to create experiences for people, continuing to provide platforms for people, even if it looks different, even if it's just virtual, continuing to have those conversations about Haiti, about women empowerment, about arts, about culture, about entertainment, continuing to feed people's soul. Like that's what's next for me. It's a continuation.
Awesome. Awesome. Where can people find you? Where can we find you? Where are you at? What's going on?
Is that sad, Michelle? Did I just say Clubhouse? Is that sad? That's sad.
Yeah. Well, it's not a bad thing because we connected there. So I'm going to always have a special space in my heart for Clubhouse because, again, I've been coming up in rooms where there have been authentic, genuine women like yourself sharing. Sharing your stories, being transparent, just talking and raising the vibration as women. So I can't say anything bad about it yet because that's where you and I fell in love, right? But so are you on Instagram or Facebook or what's going on, Jodine?
I am, you can always go to my website, Jodine Dorsey. It's just my name, JodineDorce.com, and find all of my socials there. I'm on Instagram, Jodine Dorsey, Twitter, Jodine's Corner, Facebook, Jodine Dorsey. I'm on it, and I'm also on Clubhouse, Jodine Dorsey.
Yeah.
Like it's just my name. I'm not that creative on that sense. I'm like, I don't know. Like everyone's like got these like cute names on social. I'm just like, it's just my name. It's this is authentically who I am.
You don't need a cute name because you got those cute dimples. See.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
That face is cute. That face is ooh.
Yeah. It's girl. I used to be ashamed of these dimples. Don't let my smiles like people used to like poke my face and run. It was school kids are the worst. Like let's be real clear. School kids are the worst. My self-esteem issues are because of elementary school people.
I have to agree. I've just, it's been these last couple of years that I've appreciated the melanin, like dark skin and all of that. That's the thing. And the coarseness of my hair. It was never a thing. It was like, no. So I feel like, now black people are in now. Like black women are in, like dark skin is in. Yeah. Like, so I feel you on that. I always had a big booty. It was always a thing. And I've pigeon toe. And so things that people are aesthetically enhancing now, like I take a number. Right? I've always had it. Like, so now it's in and you're getting millions of dollars for it. What am I doing? So I'm doing something wrong.
What?
Yeah.
Right.
So I know.
That's what's dope, Michelle. It's like we are being celebrated. Like we are being celebrated, and I'm careful with that, right? Because we can't let that get to our head. We still got so much work to do. And just because a fraction of the population want to glorify my skin tone now, that's great. Thank you. I appreciate it. And yes, like I too am celebrating my skin tone.
Right.
But we just got to be careful because there's still a machine out there. There's still systems in place to make sure we don't go that far.
Yeah. I agree.
Period.
I agree.
Period.
I agree.
There's still systems in place that will keep us divided. There's still systems in place that, you could celebrate your skin tone here, but not over there. You know what I mean? There's still systems in place. And we just got to keep working and shattering those systems, be gone with all that BS and just celebrate who we are and align ourselves with our spirits. Align ourselves with our spirits.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for being my guest today. This was fun. This was fun. I gotta promote some more people. First of all, you dropped a lot of names today. You did. You did. Shouts out to Kimmy Bennings. I heard that name. We know her. Shouts out to her. Tracy. Is that Art is a Weapon, Tracy? That's who we're talking about?
Yes, that is Art is a Weapon.
Shouts out to Tracy. Yeah. I think today's show is powered by a really dope guy. Today's show is powered by DJ Salah Ananse. Yes, and he has been out on the campaign trail with John Ossoff. I showed this earlier today. vote January 5th for the Senate seat. He's been out there on the road, providing music, good vibes for John while John is pushing the campaign trail. So I like Salah. I'm glad that he was able to power my show today. I love what he does. He is out on Twitch. Follow him. Get with that guy. He's doing some great. He's doing some great music. He's on Instagram. Thanks, Jodine. He's on Instagram. He's doing some wonderful things through music, producing, remixing. Just a really dope guy. And I'm glad that he's doing what he's doing. He's all about Atlanta, and he's all about making change and making sure that we stay woke and we are aware. That's my man, Salah Ananse. Follow him on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on Twitch. He powered today's show. Thank you, Salah. I appreciate you.
Salah.
Yes, we appreciate you for all that you do. Listen, if you have not gone out to vote, I'm going to use my platform again today. To vote. You need to vote. This is very important. Please, please do not sleep. This is important. We need you to go out there and vote because we need to run the house, okay? we need the house. Otherwise, Joe and Kamala's job is going to be very difficult if we don't get these 2 seats. So please go out and vote, 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 vote. It is very, very important. Tuesday, go out there. I think polls open as early as 7. They'll close at 7 p.m., I believe. Go ahead out there and vote. That is my time. You know me, Real Chicks Rock. I am everywhere. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have a website too, realchicksrock.com. Go out there, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Come on, you know you don't want to miss any of these episodes that I'm doing. Go out there. If you need a t-shirt, we got it. If you need a mask to go with your t-shirt, we got it. We want you to be safe, so we got some masks and some things out there. I want to thank our listeners, Get Live Radio. We're out there in the UK, Germany, and Paraguay. Thank you for WDJY 99.1 FM in the Metro Atlanta area. The On Channel, thank you. Subscription television, we love it. And Beat Break Radio FM. We couldn't do any of this without you guys, so we appreciate your love, your time, and attention. Welcome to 2021. I wish you guys all the best this year. I'm going to be with you. Until next time, you guys be well, take care, and continue to rock on. Bye.
Go ahead, Michelle. Go ahead. Love it. So proud of her.